The Laguna Phuket Tri-Fest gathers athletes from around the world to compete on 2 grueling courses that mix a tough coastal swim, freshwater sprint, cycling up some of the island's steepest roads, and a slog of a run through the late morning heat and humidity. So why do they do it? And what makes Phuket Triathlon so popular with established pro triathletes and the young guns out to prove their mettle? We ran across a passel of pros in the kids club at Cassia Phuket to find out why they keep coming back.
Very special is to swim in the salt water and afterwards in the sweet water. That's the first thing. And it's I don't know if there is any other race that has this special swim course. I'm not sure, but I don't know about that. So that's the first thing. And then the race course on the bike is quite hilly and technically difficult. So it spreads the field. So there is not that much of tactic anymore. You just have to be a good biker. It makes it special as well, because usually you can just ride in your triathlon position for 90 Ks and everything's flat, nothing difficult, and that doesn't really change, diverses people from each other, or makes a selection of athletes that are good bikers or not. And the run course is just 12 Ks, so that's a very different distance than we are used to.
Many of the pros use the shorter, faster Laguna Phuket Triathlon as a test run for the following weekend's challenge. But even the shorter distances of the LPT do not make it a walk in the park.
Racing here, you're always not feeling very good because the heat really slows you down, and you have your normal race feeling, your speed, but here it just seems to be much slower than you're used to.
This year's LPT was a particularly hot and humid one that saw even the pros with experience of the course and conditions struggle to hit their stride.
This year was very hot. Also last year was, I think, compared last year was more or less similar, but this year was very hot, especially was very humid. For me, normally I don't suffer this kind of weather, but this year was very tough race, and a lot of athletes suffered a lot during the race.
It was super fast swim, and I mean the sea was really flat, and it was like swimming in a swimming pool, and the ocean here is so salty and so fast to swim. And of course, when you enter the lagoon, it's totally different kind. The water is hotter and sweet water, and so more difficult and more slow.
So how do the pros plan out their attack? We asked Germany's 2-time Ironman 70.3 world champion and former Phuket champ, Michael Reilert, to give us the inside skinny on his tactics.
If you're kind of in the lead, you just have 2 options. One option is you go as hard as you can and try to keep the other boys to the distance that they won't catch you. So you're pushing it hard from the beginning. And the other option is you're somewhere in between, and it's more tactical. So once you're in the front, you go as hard as you can. Or the second one, you're just with them, and then of course it's more tactical, and you're looking at each other or prepare for the run. But my option was like, when I've been in the front, there was actually only one option, and this was like going as hard as I can, and hopefully that the other boys won't catch me.
This was the first time back on the track for 2014 Tri-Fest champ Rudy Wild after struggling for a couple of months on the injury bench. Easing back into the game is not high on a triathlete's list, but in the case of this year's LPT, Rudy soon realised he had some stiff competition to overcome.
I had my last race about 2.5 months ago, and I think it took me a little while to get into the race rhythm again. And beginning of the bike, I didn't feel that good, and he was pushing the pace. And but I felt better the longer the race took, and I could actually gain some time on him towards the end and on the run. But he was too far away, and he really deserved to win.
Having bested the Swiss Olympian in the LPT, how was Michael Reilert planning on pushing ahead in the much tougher challenge?
Maybe it's like an evolutional thinking, because you are the guy who gets, or the other boys are hunting you, and so you get a bit of afraid, and this is what keeps you going, and sometimes you overpace yourself because of this kind of afraidness, and actually this was what kept me going on last Sunday.
And I think he had a really good race, and I was happy with my performance, but he was just stronger last weekend, so hopefully I can take revenge next weekend, and the race is gonna turn out in a different way.
Though there were quite a few familiar faces in the pro field lineup for the start of the Challenge Laguna Phuket, there were also a pile of up-and-coming young guns looking to dethrone the current course favourites.
This is, I reckon, kind of unique, like because Phuket or Thailand got such a good reputation because good boys get an invitation, the young guns coming to beat the older one, and so it's getting a really competitive field.
There's many strong guys racing this year, like Bart Arnouds and James Kanama from South Africa, which are both very strong cyclists and especially runners. And on the other side you have other athletes like Tim O'Donnell, who just finished third in Kona. So we have a great start field this year, and it's going to be interesting to see who plays which card at what point of the race.
Yes, the experience helps a lot in this condition. And there's a lot of new faces, a lot of strong guys. This year the field is a very deep and unbelievable field. I think it will be a very good challenge.
And so we hope, of course, that our experience can help us to race against these super strong athletes.
In the women's field, the battle was between Swiss pro Simone Brandley, who had trounced the competition during the LPT, and tough-as-nails triathlete Jodie Swallow from Great Britain.
Especially because Jodie's here, it's going to be very fast from the beginning. Also, the swim has to be fast, and then my goal is not to have too much distance to Jodie, who is a very fast swimmer. And on the bike, you can't push that hard in the hills because it's longer, so you have to keep yourself a little bit more patient. And the run is definitely more about endurance than speed, especially in the heat. It takes longer, so it's going to be later in the morning, it's going to be hotter, so I try to cool as much as possible.
I think it's certainly an advantage if you have been racing here a couple of times already, and but same time, all these people, they are very experienced athletes. They were the world best athletes and racing since several years, so they have experience as well, but maybe not on this course as much as I do. So I try to use that advantage, of course, next Sunday, and to make a smart race, and yeah, hopefully end up with a very good result.
And so it was a double Swiss on the top podium at the end of the challenge, with both Rudy and Simone taking gold. But while the race was over for the pros, there were literally hundreds still out on the course, including Phuket Today presenter Isaac Stone Simonelli.
So after the first lap, I have to go back into the ocean to do the second lap, right? Do another swim, another bike, another run.
Check back later to see how he got on.